Hi, I'm Catherine Mora. I'm the head book coach and publishing director at Change Empire Books, where we help you write and produce beautiful books and get them out into the world. This is Cat's Book Chat, where I talk every day about a different topic to do with writing, editing, publishing, and promotion. And today's topic is, what do media look for when promoting your book? Now, for those of you who don't know, I actually worked in media and marketing for 15 years before I trained as a coach and before I wrote my first book. So I've got a lot of experience in this area. They used to call me the pitching queen because nearly everything I pitched used to get picked up by media. So I generally know what editors and journalists are looking for, and that's what I want to share with you. Now, there is no exact science. Media is a very unknown quantity. You can pitch something amazing that doesn't get picked up because maybe something else massive happened in your city or in the world or whatever just before you sent that release or at the same time. I've actually had people get things picked up and then it doesn't run because something massive happened on that day. Whereas you could, on a slow news day, you could pitch a kind of okay pitch and it could get picked up because they're just desperate for stories. So you honestly never know what will happen, even if you're using a publicist. You just don't know the impact that your press release will have and if you'll actually get your story up regardless of the quality. So I will say that. But generally, media, that is editors and journalists, depending who you're pitching, what they care about is their audience. What do their audience want to know? What's valuable to their audience? What do their audience care about? Because nobody is going to promote your book for free just because you've written it. So I've seen a few pretty bad press releases that basically say, oh, hello, this very unknown person wrote this book. This is what it's about. Seriously, nobody cares. So what do they care about? Because they care about what their audience want to know is, how is what you've got to say valuable to their audience? Now, assuming you've picked your media carefully because you've actually not just blanket pitched everybody. I do like to do individual pitches for certain things, and you can do press releases for other things. But does your topic have a certain something that you've researched, or is there something really timely and interesting that will engage the audience, their audience? Or, for example, you could pitch about someone you have helped. So if you've had a client that had a great outcome from working with you, the pitch is really about that client's success. So maybe it was weight loss, for example. You might be a weight loss coach and your client lost 50 kilos and they did it through some unusual thing, right? And that you taught them. Now, people obviously love stories about weight loss. People love a makeover. So the pitch is focused on that client and what they achieved. And then you come into the pitch as basically they were helped by Joe Bloggs, who's a weight loss coach. And Joe says this, quote Joe. And then Joe's written a book, The Science of Losing Weight. And that book has some really cutting edge stuff in it that is going to change the way that people look at weight loss. So it's like the backup. So if it was for broadcast media, for example, your client would actually go to the studio and you would go with them, and the client would talk to the TV hosts and say, yes, I used to be 50 kilos heavier and this happened and my life was like this, and then I finally found Joe and Joe helped me and now I look like this. And they say, oh, that's great, and they ask questions, and then they say, Joe, so tell us blah 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 blah, and they ask you a few questions, and then they say, oh, and you've written a book about this, and Joe's the author of this book, and then you show the book, right? That's another way that you can pitch. So another thing is you might tell the real story behind the book. So depending on what your book is about. Now, I don't really work with novels very much. I can make exceptions depending on the situation. I do love novels. It's not that. It's just that novels don't really make money. So they're less attractive for people. I don't want them to invest a lot of money knowing that they probably will never make it back. But I will say my first novel, Sex, Lies and Cruising, was inspired by when I worked on cruise ships. So our press release was about what really happens on cruise ships, and I was in about 23 outlets in 20 days. The press went insane about my book. I had television, radio, newspaper, online, you name it. So that sort of real story thing, or the truth behind, that kind of thing, media can really love that depending on the topic. So there are different ways you can promote your book that aren't the I wrote a book, please give me free publicity. Happy to chat about that. You can always message me, comment below, send me a PM, and I can talk about whether or not I think you could get media for your book idea. And yeah, I'm also going to drop a checklist below, my 45-step checklist to book writing and publishing, which you will find really handy if you're at the beginning stages. And I'm here for you anytime. Send me a message, and always happy to chat about your book idea. Until next time, happy writing.